Well, hey, Brian, is your running back situation going to be challenging this week, or how does it look like that's going to come together? Or
Well, I think it's coming along fine. We'll be ready for anything, Bob. We're working through the week. We got a bunch of different things that could come up with guys playing and guys not playing, and we'll be ready to go. But it's been a interesting week of practice, and we've been creative throughout, and we'll be ready no matter what happens.
DJ in particular, just I guess what did you see out of him last week when he played? And I imagine he's getting a lot of work in practice, so he'd probably be a little more prepared this week if he has to play a lot. Or
Yeah, well, if you think back to the Miami game, Bob, he made a couple really nice plays in that game for us. There was a couple really big checkdowns for us where he caught the ball. He did the same thing in this past game. I think last week was a good lesson for everybody. Young players that might find themselves a little bit lower on the depth chart. Oh, I might not get a whole lot of play, and he gets kind of thrown into the game late. And a couple little things there mentally that he's got to be sharper with. And I love he takes accountability for all those things when you watch it. But he's a really good football player. Instinctive, one-cut, decisive runner, really good feet, really good change of direction, again, he's a guy that we know can play well and play at a winning level for us.
All right, Jen, you're up.
Okay, how about this?
There you go. There you go.
Except you can't see me. I'm in safe driving mode.
That's okay. That's good. That's good. That's what we want.
You have been around Russ for a few years. He has rarely had a performance like last week, where the numbers are awesome, but the 3 interceptions. How did he react in those meeting rooms, and what have the conversations been like?
Well, Jen, he's the ultimate competitor. The way he played last week, I thought he played terrific. He really did. He played terrific. We went up and down the field in the first half. Couple, costly turnovers, costly interceptions. You guys know, we preach it. He preaches it. He believes it. It's all about the ball, and we got to take care of the football better. But the thing about him, he's the ultimate competitor. He knows that he's got to protect the football, and I'm quite certain that we won't see a performance like that. And again, some of the throws he made were unbelievable. The throw to Tyler was unbelievable. Let me go back. The multiple throws to Tyler, the deep post for the big play, the one on fourth down. That's just so much more him. But he was back at it bright and early on Monday morning, ready to go compete again.
John Boyle.
Yeah, we've seen obviously a lot of big games out of DK, and then last week maybe they put a little effort into stopping him, and Tyler goes for 15 and 200. Just as an offense, how valuable is that when you have two, number one quality guys that if they try to take one away, the other guy can do that?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, we're blessed with two really great explosive players, really guys that, our tandem, I'd put it up against anybody in the league. We weren't trying to not get DK the ball. It's just kind of the way it played out was that, the ball gets thrown different places based on coverages and things like that. We missed on a couple throws to DK. We just didn't execute it altogether for different reasons. But I'd say it's a huge blessing for us to have those type of guys that people have to be aware of. And, most teams, they'll have a corner that they feel good about matching, but do you have multiple guys that can go match up with our guys? That makes it hard. And, again, each week we don't care who gets it. Both those guys, they compete. They both can turn it on at any moment. And, again, the performance that Tyler had is one of the best performances I've seen in a really long time for a receiver. Some of the catches he made, just, again, where guys were the first play of the game, the big play down the boundary where, he was kind of getting doubled and his arm was getting grabbed. I mean, he played amazing effort. So we feel very fortunate to have those two guys. And the cool thing is they consistently do it week in and week out. It's the numbers don't always show it. Sometimes one guy has more catches than the others, but they both consistently do it week in and week out.
Joe Fan.
Ryan, Russ said he had no regrets about sticking with the run on 3rd and 2. He said he liked the look, and you guys should have executed. I'm curious if you feel the same way, and was there maybe a miscommunication? It looked like Damian potentially went the wrong direction on the block.
Yeah, it was. I mean, we called a play that had multiple choices. We had just run the same exact play for 7 yards, and there was a mental error on the play. And so, again, it doesn't matter how it plays out. You know, we had plenty of chances in that game to win the football game. We really did. And but yeah, no regrets about that. It happened, and again, we believe in execution, and you got to execute to win football games in this league, and especially against a good opponent.
Felt like in your two series in overtime, Vance Joseph started bringing different looks at you, especially that there was a third down sack and then also the pressure that resulted in the pick. I'm curious. It seemed like that was maybe the first time you guys have been totally off, on your heels or maybe overwhelmed by a pressure. What was challenging about that, and maybe was it different than what you'd seen all game long?
No, Vance has always been aggressive, Joe. He's always going to throw things at you. He did it consistently. We didn't handle it perfectly across the board. There was adjustments that I look back that I think I should have gotten to quicker. But again, we kind of figure it out. We get the big pass out to DK, right, for really what should be the game winner. And unfortunately, there was a holding penalty, and Demo's got to be, better with his hands. There's certain plays that in the game when you look at it and, other guys are doing the same thing and they don't get called. It gets called in that situation. It is what it is. But I give Vance, credit. He came after us. But you do that, it's pretty dangerous. Again, I'll take that we have to be better in those situations, starting with just the way we get things blocked up, and the adjustments happened a little bit late. So that falls on me.
Tim Booth.
Since Joe asked exactly what I was going to ask,
now you're scrambling. Now you're scrambling for what the question is. Yeah,
exactly. Which of your skill position guys, wide receivers probably, would make the best running back in an emergency situation if needed?
Well, I think they would all do different things, Tim. I think you could power DK down in the A gaps, with some gap schemes. I think you could probably toss the ball on the perimeter to Tyler. I don't know where Tyler would go. He might start left, reverse field, go right, but he is a punt returner. Let's see, who else? Demo. Demo, we've seen him drop an exchange, pick it up against Atlanta, scramble for a 14-yard gain. He's hard to bring down. So I think a lot of them would be really good at it. How was that for a diplomatic answer? Was that good?
That was diplomatic, and I feel like I scrambled pretty well.
Yeah, you did. You did a nice job. That was a good question. Hopefully I didn't give you anything, but you definitely scrambled well.
Jackie, you're up.
Hey, Coach, San Francisco has been hit with a ton of injuries, but have you seen much, if any, drop-off, especially in these last two games from their defense?
You know what? It's interesting because, division opponents, you always kind of monitor what's going on, and you hate to see the loss of great players. It's just, it's good for the game when Joey Bosa and those guys are out there. But you're kind of mindful of it, and you're kind of, when you're waking up Monday morning, you're like, okay, we got San Francisco, let's take a look at this. And then you go and you turn the film on. It's amazing. They're a top-tier defense, no question about it. I think they're number one in the last couple of years in not giving up explosive plays. And they play extremely hard. So you would think without seeing jersey numbers that they got all their guys because they look really, really good. Fred Warner, unbelievable football player. Sideline to sideline, diagnosing things, making tackles. It's kind of been fun for me because I remember year one being here, seeing number 47 running around out there. And it was Fred's number his rookie year, I guess. And then you kind of, he's a pretty good player. Yeah, you'll see. And now you watch him in year 3 or 4, whatever it is, and the guy's just he's a nightmare to deal with. He's all over the field. And so, again, really good scheme, and they play really hard and very well coached.
Thank you.
Brady?
Hi, Brian.
Hi, Brady.
Going back to the conversation about number one receivers, I mean, a lot of people, I think, hear that term and they just think it's the receiver who puts up the most yards or catches. But from an offensive coordinator, play caller perspective, what is having a number one receiver mean, game plan wise, all that stuff?
Well, I think the first thing you would look at is you know somebody that the defense is going to be aware of where they line up. If you've got a number one receiver, they're going to try to find out where they're going. Are they the X? Are they the Z? Do they play outside? Do they play inside? Do they move them around? For example, DK this year, we're moving around a heck of a lot more than we did last year. So it makes it harder for people to find him. And what creates the problem for the defense is when you have two guys of the very similar skill sets, It's hard to find both guys. Of course, DK gets matched a lot. You know, Gilmore matched him, Patrick matched him, Jalen will probably match him. But again, it doesn't mean that he can't have big games. Look at what happened against New England. You know, this week, again, like I talked about, just we missed on a couple opportunities. We were hitting on some other things, so we kept kind of going to that. But I just think, you know, having one guy is a little easier for the defense to take away. They can scheme him and say, okay, he's there. Hey, we want to maybe put a guy on him, but also put the safety to that side. That's what a lot of people try to do, take him out of the game. Because if you try to move a safety to his side, sometimes the quarterback goes, I don't want to throw it over there, and he moves the other way. We don't look at things that way. If a guy's doubled and he's a great player, he's not really doubled because you still got to stop the ball from being thrown and caught. And with a quarterback like Russ, he's going to put it into spots where he gives our guys a chance to make a play, and more times than not, they make those plays.
Thanks.
Ben.
Shotty, being in the box when, you know, Russ had that interception at the goal line, did you think DK had any chance of catching Buddha? And then when he actually did catch him, you know, what kind of went through your mind, and just where does that kind of rank in terms of football plays you've ever seen?
Yeah, well, I'm glad you asked that. I'm glad you asked that question, Ben. So number one, absolutely, your first reaction is, uh-oh, you know, you see the turnover happen, but because where the box was situated, I was kind of looking right at it, and it's amazing. I felt it. Like you felt the guy, you felt DK's speed closing. And, you know, he gets those big strides going. You see it on deep balls sometimes. His head goes down and his arms start pumping. And it was almost like it slowed down for me, if I'm being honest. And then, again, so the effort was amazing. It's one of the coolest plays I've ever seen, being honest. It shows you the type of character of not just him, but our team, our unit. But for the defense to go out there and do what they did, stop them, for us to turn around and go 97 yards and score a touchdown, I think it speaks to the makeup and belief of this football team. I wish we win the game. I think we win the game, and it's one of the coolest storylines of the year. Unfortunately, we came up a little bit short, but it doesn't take away from the effort of not only DK, the defense, and then the resolve of our unit to go right back out there and go 97 yards against a really good opponent.
Mike?
Hey, Brian, I know let Russ cook was kind of a joke that you heard all summer and all offseason, but you guys are actually doing it. Why is that?
Well, again, you know, Mike, it was certainly something that we heard, we talked about. You guys asked about it quite a bit. It's just kind of the way we're playing right now. We're playing with a lot of confidence, throwing the football. We're still running the ball really, really well. I mean, I don't think we think we're going to go into Arizona and rush for 200 yards against them, but we do. And so, you know, the term is fun. The term is catchy. Fans love to talk about it, but I literally don't sit up there in the staff room with the staff, and we don't put on a chef's hat, and we don't pull out our recipe books and be like, hey, it'll cook on this one. I mean, we don't do that, you know. We just come up with the best plays we can come up with, and some of them work, you know, and some of them don't. And he's playing with a lot of confidence right now, and you know, we knew at some point we might lose a game, and you know what, we did lose a game, and if anything, it motivated us to get back to work. But I think it's fun for the fans. I think it's fun for people to talk about. But at the end of the day, we want to win, and if that takes us not letting Russ cook, okay, we'll do that too. If we think we got to let Russ cook, or that's the way the game unfolds, and we'll be pulling out our recipe books and mixing all the different ingredients and seeing how it tastes.
Thanks. All right, last one for Shotty. Greg Bell.
So you have a chef's hat, Brian?
What I actually, you know, I don't cook very often, Greg. You know, other than when I'm in the staff room. So I really don't. I have an apron at the house, but I don't ever wear that either. You know, I leave that to Jemmy. Jemmy does all the cooking.
Too much information. I should have asked.
Yes.
When you said you saw Russ go in Monday morning back to work, he often talks about the neutral mind. What did you notice about after the third interception in overtime on the team plane the next morning? It's easy to say there was no difference. Was there truly no difference in him?
I think, you know, after the game, I mean, he and I talked for a while. You know, I mean, win or lose, he and I always sit and talk. We just kind of dissect different things that happen throughout the course of the game. Again, I don't think it was any different. The conversations, when we win games, Greg, we still talk about, golly, hey, we let him off the hook with that, or, hey, I shouldn't have called that, man. Thanks for bailing me out, or, hey, that was a great call. We have all those conversations. This game was no different. I think to fight and to do the things that we did, scoring all the points and all that stuff, it felt like, we had our chances, but it really wasn't any different. I just think, this is a grown-ass man's business. It really is. It's for tough-minded individuals, and you're going to have opportunities where things happen and you get kicked in the gut, and you're like, man, that stinks, that hurts. Shoot, what are we going to do now? And the guy's amazing. He doesn't blink. Does he get pissed? Sure, he gets pissed. Okay, but he doesn't blink. And again, he's amazing the way he moves his mind into that neutral mind. And I've seen it in great moments, and I've seen it in tough moments. Sunday night was a tough moment. Monday morning, hey, right back to work. Another great opponent coming in here, and he'll be ready to go, as we all will.
Did he get fooled? Did you guys get fooled on that last interception when Simmons dropped off?
Yeah, they were showing one of those. Somebody asked a question earlier. They were showing the all-up blitz, and they bailed out, and he just never felt them. He just kind of never saw them. Great play by him. And so it was a good disguise on their part.
Oddball, I guess. Okay. Thank you, Brian.
Okay. Thanks, guys. See you.
Thank you.